if we can get started with item number 1.
Item number 1, motion Garcetti-Labange relative to the establishment of identification and/or transfer of funding for an authorization to negotiate and enter into a contract with Managed Career Solutions, Inc. for the operation of an 8th Los Angeles Business Source Center in Hollywood area by the Community Development Department.
Receive and file.
Okay, I'm sorry. Item 1 is receive and file if there's no objection. Hearing no objection, that will be the order. Item number 2.
Oh, pardon me, Mr. Chair. We have a speaker card on item number 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where? Okay, item number 1. Warren Cooley?
Good morning. Just a quick comment on item number 1. The $4 million for 8 centers. You're to be congratulated as a council team on increasing the budget. And if there is another, and it doesn't say in there that there is, but if there is another center added to the program, I would encourage you to find another $500,000 to fund that center as opposed to taking it out of the funding for the existing program. And I'll go back to what I should have said at the beginning. I'm Warren Cooley, Valley Economic Development Center. Thank you.
Okay, the reason that we're receiving and filing this item is because the funding for this purpose is in the con plan that's being recommended and is before us today. So one way or the other, it'll get funded. Thank you. So then we will receive and file that item. Item number 2.
Michael Keck, CLA's office. Item number 2, Los Angeles Housing Department and CAO report and CLA report submitted relative to authorization to issue letters of commitment for round 3 of the 2012 Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the Blossom Plaza, Linda Vista Apartments Phase 2, and Navy Village projects and various actions related to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And we should also note this item is scheduled for council on March 1st, 2013.
Good morning, council members. My name is Aurora Bracia with the CAO's office. The Los Angeles Housing Department requests authority to issue letters of commitment for round 3 of the 2012 Affordable Housing Trust Fund Notice of Funding Availability, NOFA. The letters of commitment...
Do me a favor, can you pull the mic a little bit closer?
Sorry. The letters of commitment must be issued prior to the California tax credit allocation deadline of March 6th. In addition, Housing Department requests authority to issue opposed determinations for projects applying to TCAC by March 6th, if those projects have not already been awarded letters of commitment. In December 2011, the Council and Mayor approved the 2012 NOFA, which authorized LAHD to release up to 3 rounds of the 2012 NOFAs. For this third round, the Housing Department received 3 applications. After reviewing and scoring the applications, the Housing Department requests approval from Council and Mayor to issue letters of commitments for 3 projects: Blossom Plaza, Linda Vista Apartments Phase 2, and Navy Village, totaling $16.8 million. The Housing Department wants to ensure that adequate funding for these 3 projects are available by making sure that they receive all of the apportioned tax credits from TCAC. Therefore, the department also requests authority to issue letters to TCAC called opposed determinations for any projects that have not been approved by the mayor and the council. If approved, this action will prevent affordable housing organizations from receiving tax credits for projects based in Los Angeles that would have submitted applications to TCAC in March. The CAO supports the request from the Housing Department regarding the 2012 Affordable Housing Trust Fund NOFA. We've also included 2 additional recommendations in our report. The first recommendation is that the Housing Department report back to the Mayor and Council with proposed policies and procedures to manage the new City of Los Angeles geographic apportionment created by TCAC, and include in the proposed policies and procedures how LAHD will ensure that future NOFAs are open and competitive. Second, that the Housing Department authorize execution of a
Okay,
development...
I'm going to have to ask you again. Can you speak directly into the microphone? We can barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. The second recommendation is that the Housing Department authorize the execution of a development and disposition agreement, a DDA, and negotiate a ground lease and other associated documents for the Blossom Plaza project, subject to the approval by the city attorney as to form. The chief legislative analyst has a presentation about this recommendation. If the recommendations in this report are adopted, there is no impact to the general fund. Funding for the Round 3 NOFA is available and provided from approved Home Improvement Partnership Program home funds. And now, if you have any questions, I think we might have a presentation from the CLA.
Yes, very briefly, the John Wickham with CLA's office. The council authorized a city negotiating team to negotiate with the Forest City as the developer of the Blossom Plaza project to negotiating a disposition and development agreement for the project. We have completed those negotiations and have on file now a recommended DDA for the council to approve. It's important that that document be part of the TCAC application that the developer will be going forward with next week. So we request it outlines the development that will be moving forward at Blossom Plaza, which is entirely within the entitlements for the project that have been approved. It provides 53 affordable housing units, which is at a minimum 23% of the total units in the project and maybe more at the end of the day. It includes the transit connection between the Golden Line Station and Broadway. It includes public transit parking spaces. There will be an effort to put in a bike hub or other bike facility in there, as well as other intermodal connections. So this is entirely the project that has been envisioned for this site for the last 10 to 20 years, something like that. And we're very happy to have this forward to you now. Our recommendation is that you approve the CLA report, but also that you instruct the city negotiating team to work with the developer to address a couple technical issues that we identified yesterday, just to make sure that we have the assignment language correct in the document, and there are some design waiver steps in there so that as the public project is being built, the Housing Department and the Department of Transportation have an ability to move the construction approvals along, but we need to make sure that we don't prevent the City Council from taking actions that are appropriate in that step as well. So we just have some technical fixes we need to make.
Are all those instructions in the recommendations?
It's the recommendation of the CLA that you instructed the city negotiating team to make these technical fixes and bring those to the council on Friday.
But are those in already?
They're not in the document right now. We found them last night at the, these technical fixes that were necessary, found them last night as we were preparing for the meeting today.
Okay, are they written someplace?
We will have them written for you on...
Council?
Yeah, on council. We will outline exactly what those are along with the revised document.
Okay, now, what is this issue, opposed determinations to TCAC? What is that? Please
Yeah.
explain. That's
Yes, I'll explain that. My name is Manuel Bernal. I'm the Director of Multifamily Housing for the Housing Department. You may have heard that the Tax Credit Allocation Committee has now agreed to set up a City of Los Angeles geographic region for
What?
tax credits. The City of Los Angeles tax credit region for the City of Los Angeles has been set up starting 2013, this next round. What happens is that any project located within the City of Los Angeles can apply and will apply into that bucket, as it's called in the industry, right? So if any project in addition to these three projects can apply, and the problem is that if we don't oppose anybody else, then one or two of these projects will get bumped out of the funding. And that's, we think these projects went through a public process to get selected. They have critical non-city funds that are about to expire. So it is imperative for us to protect these projects and not support other projects. That's it.
okay. We have one card. I can't, is that Maxine or Maurice? Maurice Ramirez? Sorry. Hi, Maury.
I'll try out Maxine if you'd like. My name is Maurice Ramirez. I'm the Executive Vice President for AMCA Multi-Housing. We are the developer of the Linda Vista Hospital. And in part, I wanted just to give you a brief update in terms of where we're at with that development. It's a 4-acre development, one large building, which is a hospital building, one small building, which we call the nurses building. Both are historically significant developments in the National Registry, so both of them are being rehabbed to those standards. The first part of financing that was provided to the project, as Manuel mentioned, came through NSP money, which is a federal program that was created to stabilize neighborhoods. This site had been empty and abandoned for over 25 years. This is a really terrific addition to the neighborhood. The nurses building is actually just about to get its certificate of occupancy, and it looks pretty fantastic. We're looking forward to securing the additional financing that is being proposed here, so we certainly are supporting the recommendation of staff. We look forward to starting on the larger building, which will be approximately 100 units of housing before the end of the year. So with that, I just want to, again, give my support to and recommend approval of the recommendations of staff.
Okay, are there any objections to these recommendations? Hearing none, the recommendation would be to approve the recommendations with the CLA's language incorporated as soon as they get it to the council.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if there's no objections, that matter is approved. Do you have any questions?
No question. I just want to thank the team for their hard work. Everyone's been essentially working on really thin ice. A lot of patience, a lot of turbulence out there. And to restructure, readjust, and then create this focus and meet the deadlines. They've been working way past midnight, 4 or 5 days in a row. It's just amazing how much effort's gone through this. I just want to thank the city staff and everyone involved in getting us to this point and making sure we don't lose the millions of dollars and we don't hurt the general fund. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 3.
Council member, did you want to open a
Did you get
public
your-
hearing on
did-
item number 2 since we have a quorum?
Absolutely. What is it you need from us?
To open public hearing, and you took a card, so you can now close
On
the
item
public
number
hearing.
2?
Yes.
I thought we opened public hearing. I apologize.
We had one speaker. I didn't hear a hearing open for everyone.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear a public hearing offered to the whole audience. That's all I was trying to cover.
Oh, anybody else want to talk?
Thank you.
I think we covered the public hearing process sufficiently. With that, item number 2 is recommended for approval with the CLA's recommendations. Item number 3?
Pardon me, Mr. Chair. City Clerk's Office. Also, there's a CAO report with recommendations as well on item number 2.
Oh, yes, those were the recommendations we approved. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? No. Okay, all right, item number 3.
Item number 3, communication from the mayor and community development department and CLA and CAO report relative to the budget for the 2013-2017 Housing Community Development 5-Year Consolidated Plan, 39th 2013-14 Program Year Action Plan. This item was continued from January 23rd's HCD meeting and is scheduled for council today, February 27, 2013.
And for the record, 3 items were entered into the public record. One is the attachment D that was provided by the Los Angeles Housing Department. Additionally, we received a supplement to attachment M from the Housing Department. We also received letters from various service providers, and this item is also referred to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Good morning, council members. Trina Unziker, Office of the CAO. The report before you details the CLA and CAO recommendations relative to the city's con plan, and that includes 4 grant funds: Home, HOPWA, ESG, and CDBG. Together, the grant totals fund approximately $131 million of city activities, and those target low and moderate income individuals, and they include programs that help businesses create jobs, provide job training for adults and youth, eliminate blight in neighborhoods, create affordable housing, and provide services for seniors and the disabled. Our report includes adjustments to the mayor's proposed CDBG budget due to events occurring after the release of the mayor's plan. For example, one significant change is the inclusion of a $2.7 million loan repayment in program year 39 rather than 38. This has no impact on the overall resources available to CDBG, but it does lower the amount the city can spend for public service category projects, and it increases the amount that the city can spend for administrative category projects instead. Some issues are uncertain at this time that could potentially impact the proposed comp plan. For example, automatic spending cuts to federally funded programs known as sequestration may result in an approximately 8% cut across all comp plan programs. If this occurs, our report makes a recommendation that any impacts resulting from sequestration should be reported by CDD and Housing, who are the city's grant administering departments. Andrea Galvin with the CLA is here to discuss specific aspects of the CDBG budget, including the public services, economic development, and neighborhood improvements categories.
Good morning, Andrea Galvin, CLA. As Trina previously mentioned, after the mayor's report was released, we were informed that $2.7 million in program income that we expected to receive during this current year would actually not be remitted to the city until next year. This does not affect the budget for next year that is before you, but it does affect the public service expenditure limit, which is based on this year's current program income. Due to this change, our offices had to reduce the public service category by approximately $400,000 across various line items. New to the consolidated plan this year was the creation of two new funds: the Neighborhood Improvement Fund, which has been allocated $2.5 million, and the Economic Development Fund, which totals $3 million. In order to specify the eligibility of projects and a protocol for expenditure, we recommend that CDD, with the assistance of the Mayor's Office, the CAO, and CLA, report to Council with recommendations to establish guidelines and procedures for both funds.
Relative to the admin services category, as we mentioned earlier, the calculation that guides the funding for these services was raised. So that gave us about $550,000 more that we could spend on administrative services, and we did that by providing additional funds to CDD, the new Economic Development Department, and we restored a $15,000 cut to a grant research program called eCivis. Having more funds available in this category helps reduce the general fund contribution to related costs, which are expected to rise due to the city's new CAP 34 calculations. Our report includes the recommendations for departments to report to Council regarding their efforts to eliminate the general fund impact on the con plan due to related costs. That's a quick overview of the con plan, and we'd be happy to respond to any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions of committee members? Then we'll move forward with the public comment period. Claire Fox?
Good morning, council members. My name is Claire Fox. I'm the Strategic Initiatives Coordinator for the Los Angeles Food Policy Council. It's a nonprofit being incubated by the Mayor's Office, and I'm speaking to the line item on the Healthy Neighborhood Market Conversion Program and the Economic Development Budget. So in my role, I'm also the program manager for this program, which is the Community Market Conversion Program. It started at the CRA to provide business development resources to small mom-and-pop neighborhood markets, and now it continues today at the Food Policy Council as a part of a larger strategy to address food deserts. As you're all very well aware, low-income residents in Los Angeles live in neighborhoods with very limited options for healthy food and face a proliferation of liquor stores, fast food, and convenience stores. So really, this is the existing food retail landscape for many of our low-income residents, and the Market Conversion Program is a vital solution to improve that landscape. So what do? We provide financial and technical assistance to small operators so that they can renovate their stores, buy new equipment, and provide more healthier options for residents. So it's a great way to build business as well as provide more options and promote health. We have applied for community Community Development Block Grant funds because we believe this program advances the city's goals of supporting small businesses, revitalizing communities, and promoting health through better access to nutritious food. So we thank you so much for your support. We hope to work with you to find stores in your districts, as well as finding additional funding sources to do these conversion projects. With me also is Joanne Kim from the Community Coalition and Rudy Espinoza from Community Financial Resource Center.
Hi, guys. Good morning. My name is Rudy. I work with Claire Fox in the LA Food Policy Council in supporting these stores. At my organization, we dedicate ourselves to supporting small businesses in low-income neighborhoods. And these corner stores, these community markets, these sometimes convenience stores, liquor stores, they are really interested in selling more healthy food in these communities, and oftentimes they're the only source for food for folks in these communities. This initiative is really important because it's providing them the capital that they need so they could renovate their stores and the help to get that capital. In addition, we're doing a lot of work to connect them to vendors that could help them provide those healthy products in their stores. So I just wanted to come and speak to you all and in support of this line item in the CDBG budget for this year.
Good morning. My name's Joanne Kim. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Community Coalition. And as you know, we led the Rebuild South Central Without Liquor Stores campaign after the civil unrest. Got over 35,000 community residents involved in preventing 150 of those stores from rebuilding after the civil unrest. So while we were able to reduce the overconcentration of liquor stores by 20%, there's still over 550 out there that are grandfathered, and I don't need to tell you how long it takes the city planning department to deal with those. I just want to share about Adlong's Liquor that's in my neighborhood of West Adams in South LA. It took Adlong's Liquor was a liquor store. There was a lot of violence, and I won't go into all of those things, but it took the city 5 years, and actually in 1998, we revoked their permit to sell alcohol. So in essence, it was converted from a liquor store to a grocery market. And 15 years later, it is still thriving as a grocery market. But that was not without a cost. 5 years of pain and suffering of my neighbors, as well as 5 years of very costly city hearings. And to me, this community market conversion program is really a cost-effective way for us to actually get at this issue of taking a deficit in our community and turning it into an asset.
Where at on West Adams?
Adlong's? Where at? On Jefferson?
Where, give me a cross street.
Oh, about Dalton-ish?
Okay.
Yeah.
Dalton-ish.
That does it for me.
I'm sorry, I just drive by and I don't,
Sure, do have.
but yeah, it's about
And
Dalton.
it's not in my district or that area.
And you know, with the Rebuild campaign, USC did a study around the stores that didn't rebuild, showed a 27% decrease in crime. I mean, we know that people don't want to set up shop. If we're talking about economic development and having a serious discussion about economic development, this is an issue that actually needs to be addressed because people don't want to set up
But to
shop.
that point, and I don't mean to cut you off, but to that point, how many entities, stores have actually been identified and converted?
Well, the program
This
began...
program
Yes, well,
or in general? Okay.
The program began at the CRA with 4 stores in South LA, so they're all on the final RUPS list, and their construction will be this spring. So they have had partial conversion. We call it kind of a mini conversion. In addition to that, we have about 20 stores that have been identified and are pipeline ready. So we're currently recruiting the second cohort of stores.
do you have a feel for an average of what it costs to go through this conversion?
Well, the CRA funding levels were $75,000 per store. Right now, we're looking at store projects that would be more in the range of $20,000 to $50,000.
How many jobs are established or created?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know if we know that yet, but certainly it's about supporting the small businesses, family operators that, in our proposal, are low and moderate income themselves.
Believe me, I support this, but I think we need to let folks know the multiplier effect and what this means, because you are addressing a health issue, but we're also talking about a change in place in how a location is treated. And so when you have new facades, sitting areas, a place where you can now gather as a community, they become the centros of the pueblos.
Yep.
Now you have a whole different feel for what that corner and/or street can do.
Yep.
And that's the story that needs to be told. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kim, I'm assuming this is your card that says communication from the mayor, Community Coalition?
Yes.
Could you please put your name where it says communication for the mayor?
Sure.
Thank you. There you go. Are there any other comments regarding the comp plan? Okay, committee members, do you have any questions or concerns? Okay, I do have an amendment to the plan, and that would be, well, let me read this verbatim. I move the following line items in attachment A to the CLA-CAO report relative to the 2013-2017 Housing and Community Development 5-Year Consolidated Plan and the 39th 2013-14 Program Year Action Plan, Council File 12-1607, be amended to reflect the following, subject to CDBG eligibility. First, reduce the following line item by the amount indicated. The repayment to HUD, reduce that, the repayment to HUD of $950,000, and increase the line item, the following line items by the amounts indicated. The Pacoima Retail Center, restoration of reprogrammed funds, $500,000, and the East Hollywood Lighting District, Phase 1, $450,000, which makes them equal amounts. Instruct the CDD, CLA, and CAO to identify funds for the Broadway retail and upper floor commercial recruitment, marketing, and job creation program, subject to review, eligibility, and cap restrictions. Any questions?
I do have some recommended changes.
Okay.
Within the budget. That's to reduce the following by the amounts as indicated: the Cypress Park Family Resource Center by $200,000, CCNP Bix renovation by $150,000. Reallocate a total of $350,000 that's identified above to the following: $100,000 for the Solid Youth and Family Center acquisition, $80,000 towards the agricultural open market, $50,000 towards Casas Alicia construction improvements, and $120,000 towards the Old Cypress Park Library for building improvements.
Okay, that's all money programmed for CD1, and so I have no problem with you reprogramming it. With that, are there any other comments? Then the recommendation would be with the amendments of myself and Mr. Reyes, and hearing no objection, that matter is approved. Got it all?
We have general public comment.
General public comment?
No cards.
Having no cards, this meeting is adjourned.